Manipulation and gang stalking go hand in hand. It could be said that gang stalking is manipulation. There is one particular technique that I very clearly remember that was used on me with a purpose of illicit substance consumption, with a purpose of pushing, shooting up illicit substances, of pushing immoral behavior. This technique is meant for the target to think about those things. For example, if anyone asks you if you have any taboos, that is going to make you think about those taboos. If anyone asks you if you inject illicit substances, you are going to think about injecting illicit substances. If someone asks you if you smoke anything, you are going to be made to think about smoking. That same strategy was used on me for the entirety of my gang stalking operation. Now that I have cut off any type of communication in any type of breeding ground for gang stalker, I have no substance problems. I'm happy, I'm working. I wanted to point this out because the power of influence in gang stalking is not a joke. If you have people asking you if you inject heroin, you are going to be made to think about injecting heroin. Now imagine if people ask you this question 100 times. Depending on the strength of the psyche of the person, many people are bound to actually bend towards this manipulation. Believe it or not, this manipulation even happened with food, where people will purposely put food around you and talk about indulgences with the mere intention of making you unhappy with your physique. Notice that now that I stopped being in the same living situation where I was surrounded by perpetrators, I'm losing all this weight. I'm not gonna blame my dietary decisions on gang stalkings because in the end, it was I who made the choice of having birria quesadillas. It felt like that. There is a point where the lines between personal responsibility and influence get very blurry. And even though I know that I was influenced by many people into making decisions that I would have not otherwise, or influenced into maintaining a lifestyle that I really didn't want, I cannot make gang stalkers fully responsible for the decisions that I made. Because just like how I promised myself that I was never gonna shoot up any drugs, if I would have taken that route or that volition of decision with anything else, there would have never been any possibility of gang stalking. Analyzing this further, gang stalkers only have power in your life when your standards are tumultuous, where they are not set in stone, which means that you have to have your standards so set and you have to make a decision to never take an action or never accept something less than what you deserve. To be honest with you, I feel that during my gang stalking operation, my standards were flimsy. And it is only now, after the 7 years of gang stalking, that they are set in stone, where I will cut someone off if they say the wrong thing. If I see that someone is unaligned with what I expect of people, I will have to immediately just cut them off. That decision is what ended up saving my life from people like this, where if one person says one thing and does another, they're automatically blocked, regardless of how much I might love that person. After 7 years of gang stalking, finally, my life guiding principles are actually set in stone now. And if you are someone who has big dreams, goals, if you're someone that is going after something very particular, first thing, don't tell it to anyone except with those whom have always been there for you, if you want. Because sabotage is real. The moment that I open my mouth about, I want to get a six-pack, guess what? All of a sudden, everyone was inviting me to have tacos. Everyone was inviting me all this food. I don't mean to sound ungrateful for the food invitations. However, the moment that I opened my mouth, that I said, I want to have abs again, all of a sudden, I was getting invited to have all these foods, these drinks. That perception that I just explained to you, where I said, I want to have abs, and all of a sudden everyone was inviting me to eat, is a confusion that, because it's probable and incredibly likely, doesn't mean that it actually happened. Even though when I was at work and coworkers offered me pizza and I said no because I was in a diet, I noticed a face of disappointment. And when you contextualize all the other actions of the perpetrator and factor in the disappointment, I can very safely assume that that was done with the intention of having me break my diet, which is exactly why whenever you're trying to do something, such as get a six-pack or chase an endeavor, you keep your mouth shut. Because if no one knows that you're trying to do something, no one can actually sabotage what you're trying to do. The crux of this video is that gang stalking is powered by influence. And if you're getting gang stalked, you have to write your standards on stone. You have to be disciplined AF, and you have to be cutthroat with the people that surround you. And when I say cutthroat, I mean cutting them off if the behavior of those people do not meet your standard. If I would have done that from the beginning, most of the gang stalking would have not even happened. Most of that came from a lack of really knowing what I want and a lack of knowing who I wanted to be. I didn't have my guiding principle, which led me to be a disaster and allow the influence of other, even more disastrous people into my life. Subscribe if you haven't. My name is Efra Rodriguez, and in this channel, we talk about narcissists, we talk about gang stalking, and we talk about fitness. I will see you on my next video.